are. So I just wanted to welcome you to our Welcome Your Wellness webinar program. And hopefully we will have some good question and Q&A sessions at the end, but I will go through a bit of it. And then if you do have questions that you're afraid to, forget or whatever, you can put them in the chat or in the Q&A and we'll talk about them at the end. So in case you're not familiar, my name is Rachel Tanzi and I work with Rutgers Cooperative Extension, specifically the Family and Community Health Sciences Department. But before we move on, I just wanted to go over a little bit of our webinar logistics, that as participants of this webinar, you're all muted and your videos are turned off. But if you do have any technical questions or even just questions regarding the presentation, put them in either the chat or the Q&A box, whichever is easier for you, and I'll respond to those at the end. And as I mentioned, we are recording this webinar, so if you want to go back to it or whatever, we'll be able to post it at some point on our page, and then you can review it at that point. So Rutgers Cooperative Extension, if you're not familiar with our structure, we do have 3 departments. We have the Agriculture and Natural Resources Department, which some people are familiar with the experiment stations all throughout the county. And they do a lot of other programs as well, like marine science and things like that. We have the 4-H Youth Development Department. A lot of us are very familiar with that, especially just having the fair end a day or two ago. So they're very integral in that fair, as well as many other programs with the youth and, animal programs and just overall wellness and helping youth develop into proper, wonderful young adults. And then there is the Family and Community Health Sciences Department, my department, which we do nutrition, health, and wellness programming. And for all of our departments, there is a division of us in each of the counties throughout New Jersey. And then there's actually a cooperative extension in each state throughout the United States. So for instance, New York is Cornell, Pennsylvania is Penn State. So we have partners as well. Rutgers State University is our main partner, as well as the state of New Jersey, the chosen commissioners, and the New Jersey Institute for Food and Agriculture. So here's just some pictures to show you our different departments and, some things that they do. You're probably familiar even with the Master Gardeners, part of our agriculture department. We do programming for all ages and stages in my department, from young to old, everyone and in between. And then the agriculture and environmental natural resources. They have a lot of different programs and are always helping to get our area into much better situations and trying to develop and cultivate a different, educational type of basis for everyone. We are RCE, Rutgers Cooperative Extension, is an affirmative action, equal opportunity employer. And now we can begin. So welcome your wellness. August happens to be Wellness Month, so it's a great time that we're doing this. And if you look here at this little word wall, there are different types of wellness. It's not just health related. It is health in many varieties and different ways. So we have emotional health, we have mental health, we have physical health, but we also have financial health and environmental health and your occupational health, your spiritual health. All of these different words are important because it is all encompassing of who we are and how we work about our wellness. We want to make sure that not only are, people often kind of pigeonhole wellness in with physical health, but wellness is your overall well-being. So that's really what we're going to talk about and have a lot of different topics on that. So the World Health Organization defines wellness as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So we are looking at, again, that overall wellness. How do you feel mentally, physically, spiritually? How are some things, maybe as in the next bullet here, determined by your environment, and that sometimes the circumstances of our environment can play onto one's health, both positive and negative. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. So how do we welcome our wellness? We really want to embrace it. We want to do what we can for ourselves. If anything the past few years have taught us is to make sure we are taking care of ourselves, because how will we take care of and care for others if we are not well ourselves? So first and foremost, something I think often gets overlooked is our sleep. Oh, yeah, I didn't sleep well last night. Oh, I didn't sleep well all week. Oh, a couple hours, I woke up, I went back to sleep. So the key here is to know 7 to 9 hours of sleep is what we're looking for. It can be broken up because we know there are REM cycles where you're in a little bit of a deeper sleep and maybe you get up to go to the bathroom and then go back to sleep. So that's okay as long as the overall is your 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And it's really important for our bodies to get that rest and that time to recharge, not only for our physical body, but our mental health as well. Because without having that proper sleep, we've all done it. You wake up, you're just kind of out of it for the whole day. You're groggy. Your brain doesn't really focus on all of the things that you need to work on and the tasks at hand. So sleep really is a priority. And if you are someone that needs to do better things for yourself to help you sleep, there are some tactics that you can do there, making sure you're getting enough physical activity, making sure you're not maybe eating too late at night, making sure you're not looking at screens with the blue lights. Things like that. There are ways to get more sleep and get a good sound sleep for yourself. Surrounding yourselves with others that encourage you. So basically, we're looking for people that are uplifting. We are very social beings. And again, over the past few years, when we had the complete shutdown, we saw a lot of issues with people just feeling alone and depressed and not having that social connection. So we developed programs like this to be able to connect in maybe a virtual world. But that's even important if, let's say, you have family across the country or in other countries that you can't see on a regular basis. You can do things like this and have that connection where seeing someone's face, I really do think is important. Even a phone call works too, hearing them laugh, hearing their voice. It is very different than maybe a text or an email or even a handwritten letter, as lovely as they are. It's not that same connection as having someone in your network giving you support, you lending them support as well, helping along just life in general, but really your wellness path. Since we're talking about wellness here, we talk about our journey and our wellness path, and we need to have those around us that help cultivate that and help build us up, not bring us down. So another key thing, a lot of people go in, let's say it's New Year's resolutions, and we're like, oh, we're going to do this all gung ho, and they get all these goals and they're very lofty. And yes, it'd be wonderful and everybody can attain them. But we really want to make sure our goals are achievable, because we don't want to set ourselves up for failure. We're looking for accomplishments. We're looking for positivity. We want to be able to say, you know what? Today, my goal is to get outside and get a 10-minute longer walk than I normally do. That's it. That's my whole goal for the whole day. Just 10 minutes longer. You know what? The weather has finally broke from the heat and humidity here, and we want to make sure that we're taking advantage of that. So maybe the goal is one simple thing. Like I said, 10 minutes longer outside, 10 minutes longer for the vitamin D to set in and give us that positivity, those good hormones in our brain to make us feel good. That could be the goal for the day. But each day, we want to make sure whatever those goals are achievable. You can make them as high and lofty as you want, as long as they are achievable, so that we get that sense of accomplishment. That is very important to make sure that we have, whether you have a checklist and you check things off, it gives you that sense of accomplishment, and then you are progressing in the right direction. Also, extremely important, and most of us know this, that's why you're here, choosing nutritious foods for your body. I'm not just saying eating healthy. Yes, I am saying eating healthy, but not just eating healthy. Having a salad, great. We all tend to go to salads. Okay, well, you can have proteins, that's important. You can have other grains and things like that, other carbs that are good for your body, nourishing your body, making the right choices. The phrase, you are what you eat, it's cliche for a reason. If you eat crappy foods, you kind of feel crappy. If you eat good, healthy foods, you feel good and healthy. So it's important to make sure that you are nourishing yourself. We all have those days. Party, picnics, whatever the case. I was at the fair for 5 days, not always the best choices eating there, but that's fine as long as the other percentages of your time are picking those nourishing, healthy foods, because you really want to make sure that you're doing good for yourself. Why would you constantly make the same decisions to eat the bad foods? Eat the good foods, because if you eat healthy, you feel healthy. Take note of that. A lot of people don't realize that. They'll say, oh, I had a terrible day. I ate crap yesterday. I feel crappy. I don't feel good. I'm sluggish. I'm tired. I have a headache. That's when you notice it. But take note of the days you feel good, the days that you're got all this energy, the days that you can get up and go do things, you can focus on the tasks that you're working on, you've probably eaten well, and you've gotten enough sleep, and you're setting those attainable goals. All of these things are what help keep us healthy. Also key, a lot of things are important here. Finding ways to reduce your stress. We all have stress. There are real stresses and fake stresses. Think about it. We've all had a nightmare, okay? You wake up, you're maybe, you wake up suddenly, you're distraught, you wake up, some people have woken up crying, something terrible happens in your dreams, you wake up in a cold sweat, your body will react to stress regardless of whether it's real or fake. Fake stress, like a dream, you manifested that in your brain and your dream, and maybe it's a dream that's somehow related to something in life, but regardless, it didn't actually happen. It was a dream. Real stress, there are things that happen in work that we can't control. There's things happening in our lives. There's also good stress. My nieces are getting married and we have 2 weddings to plan, and, within months of each other, there's a lot of things going on. That's great stress. Very exciting, very happy, but it's still stressful. So there are things that we can do. And by keeping ourselves healthy and well, physically and mentally, we are able to de-stress better and faster than others. If you are able to make sure that you're healthy in many other ways, your body responds to the stress and then comes back to normal faster than someone who is not. And there's been a lot of science and research done on this. That's another reason why it's important to make sure that you're happy and healthy, because you're able to respond and then maybe, take a turn and, hey, how can we deal with this stress? What do I need to do? How do I, need to talk to somebody or physically get out and do something? Sometimes taking a step away, slowing down and breathing is a way to de-stress. Maybe you need to go for a walk. Maybe you just need a minute for yourself, but taking that time every day is also critical, even if it's not a stressful day. Even if it's not something that you have to, I got to deal with that. I'll deal with it in a few minutes. I just need a couple of minutes. I need 10 minutes. Just give me 10 minutes alone. Even if that's not the case, your day is going great, wonderful. Still take that time for yourself. That is what keeps you on track. That is how you maintain your wellness. You want to maintain wellness. We don't want to have to do this fluctuating on a roller coaster. We want to maintain that happiness and our wellness. So speaking of happiness, find your happiness each day. One thing that makes you happy. Even if it's leaving work and it was a stressful day, but you're going home to your family or your friends or your dogs, and that brings you joy. Whatever it is that makes you smile, think about that each day, because it's important. I mean, I don't want to live my life being upset and unhappy. I want to live my life saying, you know what, even if it was a terrible, horrible day, I get to go do this. Or maybe your day at work was wonderful and that was your happiness. So whatever it is that can make you smile, it's important, because as we have the joys in our life, it is actually increasing those happy hormones in our brain, like serotonin and dopamine, that help us have that wonderful sense of fulfillment and accomplishment, and give us that de-stressing capability, because we have stress and we have many other things in our lives that we have to take care of, but we want to be a joyful person and we want to make sure that we are around others that are bringing us joy as well. Okay, so how do we just start? Let's start with the morning. Each morning, one of the things that I started doing maybe about a year or two ago, and I started doing a lot of research on it, and one of the things is just stretching. I'm not talking about having to do this 20-minute routine. I mean, and if you do, wonderful, that's great, because that's even better. But if you're not someone who gets up and stretches in the morning, you just kind of jump out of bed or, roll into the shower or whatever it is, just take a few minutes to stretch your body, even while you're laying in bed. You don't have to leave the bed yet. You can just start stretching, releasing the tension in our muscles. I tend to be somebody who kind of sleeps sort of curled up and like all tensed up like this. So once I wake up and I'm able to stretch all of these muscles, I release a lot of the tension that I've built up from sleeping. You think sleeping is relaxing, except when you're doing this, your neck can get very tight. And by having that little extra few minutes of stretching helps release that tension. It actually helps your circulation and getting your blood pumping better. It helps your digestive system function better throughout the day. So these are all good little tips that are not going to take much of your time. I'm not asking you to involve a long routine of any sort. If you develop that, and maybe that's your goal for the day, hey, I want to do a little bit more, then that would be a wonderful accomplishment as well. Another thing is we are very, our bodies are very in tune with the sun. So by having the sun and welcoming the sun each day, so there are little internal alarm clocks that we have that, okay, many of us wake up before the sun, but if you're able to have the sun at some point in the morning where you can just walk outside, let the sun kind of come down and you open the window, whatever it is that the sun gets to you, it will help you wake up and feel more refreshed for the day. I even have like this little alarm clock that it starts brightening the room as you wake up, and it gives you a better sense of being awake. You feel more refreshed when you wake up that way instead of in the dark and you have that alarm clock. And I can't do it, but I my son has it where it's that alarm that goes like, to me, it's like somebody's yelling at me. I can't do that. I need that like nice kind of a rising of the sun. I like to awake just sort of joyfully. And that is a wonderful thing to help our bodies, even if it's after you're awake and after you've showered and everything, just help our bodies sort of start the day and get things moving. Now, we hopefully all eat something called breakfast. Breakfast is literally breaking your fast. So you have now fasted for hopefully 7 to 9 hours, if not longer, from your night before, but 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And you probably stop eating a couple hours prior to going to sleep, and then you might not eat right away. So we're talking anywhere 10 to 12 hours that you haven't eaten. From your slumber, you need to break your fast. So make it a good one. Pick good choices for when you're eating your breakfast. This is the fuel that's going to help you throughout the day. We don't go ahead and put some, beverages in our car or vehicle and expecting it to run properly that aren't good for it. We supply its energy with gasoline. Or if you have an electric car, that's what you're using. You're using the proper fuel for your car to make it work. We need to make sure we use the proper fuel for this vehicle. This is our vehicle and it needs to run properly, especially after we've now fasted probably a long time. And we want to make sure that we're making good choices and having the good things that start for you to help you get going throughout the day. Proteins, calcium, fruits and vegetables, things like that. And any food can be a breakfast food. If you are somebody who just does not like breakfast food, you can have chicken for breakfast. Nobody ever said you can't. You can just make it a healthy option to get good protein, nice lean protein, maybe add in some other food groups like fruits and vegetables and things like that. That way you're getting good nutrients and good nutrition, that fuel for your body to get the day going. So hydration. This is not too difficult in July and August. We make sure we hydrate because it is hot, especially this past week. We are very cognizant of quenching that thirst. However, I bring this up because when I talk about this in the fall and the winter, it's much harder to stay hydrated because we're not as hot. We're not walking outside and the heat's hitting us in the face. It's important to make sure that you boost your body's energy by drinking more water. It can combat fatigue and sluggishness. Sometimes we'll get a headache. Sometimes we can't focus. Sometimes we don't feel good. A lot of it often can be related back to hydration. I can tell you that sometimes it mimics other things from, mimicking heart issues to, just digestive issues. When you are not properly hydrated, your body responds. Your body tissues need the hydration to work properly. So it is important to make sure all of the systems, all of your wellness, physical, mental, even wellness, we're not really thinking, oh, I'm not thirsty, I'm okay. Making sure you're having proper hydration, not just with water. You can be hydrated with decaf coffees and teas. You could be dehydrated. You can be hydrated with, unsweetened seltzers and unsweetened beverages. That can be hydrating as well. It doesn't have to be just water. We do, of course, always push the water because that is most important to have in our body. But if you're like, listen, I've had like 6 glasses of water today, I can't do anymore. Fine, have some tea, something like that. As long as you're staying on top of your hydration, it is very critical for our health. Another thing to do is to do things with gratitude, making sure that you think of, maybe the day and you want to have different things bring you positivity, bring you that gratitude at night, because we want to make sure as we're going to sleep at night, we think of a few things that brought us, joy, and you were able to be grateful for them at night. So you want to make sure if you're doing things throughout the day, even if it's just one thing. Oftentimes I talk in the morning as I drive in with my college roommate. We happen to commute at the same time, and we talk for the 20-minute ride on our way to work, just to chat. So it brings me joy to start the day, hey, how's life? What's going on? There are things that you can do, simple stress relievers. If you're finding a little bit of tension and you just can't, get past it, deep breathing. You can even just reduce your physical stress, which will help your mental stress, by doing like a 4, 7, 8 count breathing. So it's breathing in for 4, count to 4 in, holding it for 7, and then releasing it for 8 seconds. That type of breathing, doing that a few times over and over, will help calm, will help reduce heart rate, will help reduce that stress that you're feeling. You can watch a sunrise or a sunset. Take a walk outside, especially being in nature. We have ecotherapy that is wonderful for your systems. Just listening to the sounds, whether there's no sounds, whether there's birds chirping, whether there's water running in the background, whatever it may be, can be very relaxing. Listening to your favorite music. We all know we have those types of musics that either get you going, get you very excited. I was sitting in the car with my kids the other day and we were just like, you can't not move to certain songs. It just makes your body move. So that helps bring a little bit of positivity and gives you that little uplift that you might need. And making sure if you're not someone who journals, that's fine, but just maybe making a little mental note, or if you want to write it down someplace else, that you're able to take note of things that you're grateful for. These types of just little moments throughout the day, you're keeping a happiness in your life. You're making sure you're grateful for a few things. This is what brings us mental wellness. We need to make sure that we are happy and taking care of ourselves mentally as well as physically. So there's no time like the present. What changes do you need to start with? Everyone is different. Maybe you're already someone who is super physical active and you have a lot of physical activity in your lives and you need to just work on maybe some of that gratitude types of things. Maybe you're someone who's wonderful with that aspect and you need to just incorporate a little more physical activity in your life. Maybe you're someone who needs to incorporate better health in your diet. Whatever these things are, we need to make sure, or, maybe it's just a simple, I'm not really great with controlling finances. And I think today I'm going to skip the $5 coffee, and maybe you get it every day of the week. Just today, you're going to skip the $5 coffee, make coffee at home, whatever the case may be. And that $5 gets put away. And if you do that continually, and now you feel that you're doing better with savings, you'll be able to feel more gratitude for that. And then you'll have a better sense of wellness internally as well. So start just by evaluating what it is you need to change. Everyone is different. Everyone has different goals. We all have different plans and things we need to stick to. But it's important to make sure that you're following them and making them attainable. So don't think you have to overhaul your complete lifestyle to make big impacts. Just small baby steps can make a difference. Also, we're all human. Be flexible. Know that sometimes you need to maybe re-examine your goals. You need to reassess and change things up. You need to make sure that it works for you. Like I said, you might have gone to a party the day before and you ate terribly. Well, don't beat yourself up over it. It's a new day. Start over. Start with something healthy. It will make you feel better. You'll have accomplished that goal. You'll making sure that maybe the next meal you stick to something healthy. That way you don't feel like you're beating yourself up over, a terrible eating day the day before. And then you will actually help increase not only your physical health with the nourishing foods you're putting into your body, but it will help increase your mental health as well. So speaking of eating, choosing some satisfying snacks. We have our 3 staple meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We need to make sure that we are also snacking throughout the day. About every 3 hours, we should be snacking to help keep our metabolism up, especially as we age. Our metabolism kind of slows down a little bit. So we want to make sure that we start here at our metabolism level. And as you eat, it should increase a little bit to help metabolize that food, and then it comes back down. If you haven't eaten in a long time, it keeps going. It doesn't stop at this level. It will keep going down. So if you're eating about every 3 hours or so, you're not letting it get below this line. So your metabolism should stay a little higher. So it all depends on the person. Some people have faster or slower metabolisms, and everybody's body will respond to different foods differently. So we need to make sure we're eating those healthy foods, more fruits and vegetables. That's not too difficult to do right now, especially with all of our farm stands and all of the fresh fruits and vegetables right here in the Garden State. But we want to make sure we're picking good choices. Having a delicious apple with maybe a nut butter of some sort, that nice crispy juiciness of the apple with the butter, the nut butter, whether it be peanut butter, cashew butter, almond butter, any of those gives you a little extra boost of protein, which is really important. And you're getting a little bit of hydration from your apple, and also that nice sweet crispiness and crunch that we kind of crave sometimes, especially on a hot day. Having, vegetables and hummus, again, the same sort of idea, something crunchy and good for us with that nice protein of a hummus is a wonderful snack. Delivering a wonderful, good, crunchy, satisfying, taste, explosion in your mouth, but it also gives us the fiber we need to help keep our digestive tract healthy as well, and giving us a little boost of energy in the same process. Also, if you want something a little bit salty, maybe try to grab a handful of nuts. Nuts are super heart healthy. We're looking at a little bit like low sodium or no salt on the nuts is wonderful. These are loaded with different nuts, have different nutrients, but loaded with brain and immune boosting health nutrients. We are looking at these to even help reduce your risk for heart disease. They help boost your immune system, especially as we are fighting many germs and viruses and things throughout the year. They are really wonderful for your heart and your brain. I often say to people, think about a walnut. If you look at a walnut, it kind of looks like a little brain, right? Those are great packed with omega-3s. That's wonderful for your brain and your heart health. Now, if you have a little sweet tooth, we all get those cravings from time to time. Maybe you can even make yourself a little trail mix. So think about it this way. You have more of the really healthy things and less of the unhealthy things, but we're doing everything in moderation. We don't want to deprive ourselves, because then we're going to hate it. So if you could start with something like a whole grain cereal, whether it be, some of the little Chex things or, Cheerios or something like that, your favorite whole grain cereal, try to throw in some nuts, maybe some chopped walnuts, or if you like, cashews or pistachios or something like that, you can add those in. But again, as we look at each of our items, we're decreasing the amount. So we might have, let's say, a cup of the cereal, maybe, a quarter cup of the nuts, maybe an eighth of some type of dried food, whether it be raisins or cranberries, or even like dried pineapple or apples or something like that. And then if you want that little extra sweet, you could do like a few dark chocolate chips. They even make mini ones now where you're getting that same satisfaction. And dark chocolate is even heart healthy by having some extra antioxidants in there. So again, the dark chocolate chips is better for you and gives you that sense of satisfaction for the sweetness. And therefore, that whole little trail mix that you're making is hugely beneficial to your body, both mentally, physically, and you will get wonderful nutrients and antioxidants in your body to help you stay healthy. Okay. So the power of positivity. If you haven't ever experienced in this life, then I, apologize. That hopefully in your life, I feel sorry for you, but I'm hoping everyone on here, because you're here, you have at some point seen the power of positivity just by surrounding yourselves by positive people, just by surrounding your life in positive energies will help encourage you and stay optimistic, and knowing that wonderful sense of positivity, everything is possible. Anything is possible. You just have to find a way. So trying to follow a lifestyle of eating healthy foods, having some physical activity every day is critical, and getting that adequate sleep at night, at least that 7 hours, if not more, per night of sleep will help you stay positive. surrounding yourselves, as I said, with positive people. Help like-minded, optimistic people tend to influence others with energy and positive energy and staying calm and that encouragement. We've all been around those negative Nellies, those negative people where they just bring you down and you're like, oh gosh, I can't really do this right now, because it's exhausting. It's exhausting to be negative. It's very easy to be positive. You are a positive person and you sort of surround yourself with positivity, whether it be personal positivity, familiar positivity, your workplace positivity, whatever it is, it comes naturally that we feel that energy and you want more of that. It's a natural high. It is truly that natural sense of those hormones going through our brain, and we just want that feeling. So try to focus on the good things in life, even the smallest successes in a day. Smile at something funny that happened today. Did you complete a task that you've been working on forever and you finally were able to check it off your list? Did you even just get to work on time? Even if that's the only thing, it's still something. It's still something to make sure that there was something positive in your life for the day. Moving our muscles more, getting our bodies active, making sure we have movement in our day, every day. Keeping our body moving is not just some sort of strenuous workout routine. You can just start by walking. You can start by parking further in the parking lot, having that little extra bit of walk. You're stretching, hopefully, your muscles in the morning to help your body sort of loosen up. But every 45 to 60 minutes of sitting, so pretty much just by the time we're done here, if not sooner, you're going to stand up for about 3 to 5 minutes. And you can walk around your office, or if you're at home, wherever you are, take the time to make sure you're moving and stretching your muscles, because it increases blood flow and helps increase your energy levels. So sitting stagnant, and even if you're sitting at a computer typing or writing or whatever you're doing, your body is still sitting doing nothing. We are not created that way. We are created to be active and moving and always having things going on. So challenge yourself maybe to a new activity. Maybe at lunch today, you're going to take time to try a new activity that you've never thought you would do today. Maybe I'm going to take a 20-minute bike ride. And, I don't often do that very often, but that's my new activity for the day. Whatever it might be for you is a way to help your body decrease heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even some cancers. This is basically potentially helping you live longer by keeping our bodies moving, and it is cumulative. So if you take a 10-minute walk in the morning and a 10-minute walk in the afternoon and a 10-minute walk in the evening, that is 30 minutes of activity. So it is important to make sure that we keep our bodies moving. And again, every 45 to 60 minutes, get up and stretch and move and walk for about 3 minutes. It will do your body more good than just getting to the gym for an hour and a half once a day. So another thing we can do is to fine tune our meals. Making little adjustments in our eating habits have huge impact. Maybe trying to incorporate more plant-based foods into our diet, making sure we're having lean proteins. Incorporating more fish and seafood is key. We as Americans do not eat enough fish and seafood. It is important for our brain health and our heart health and our overall health to get those nutrients and antioxidants that is provided through fish and seafood. We have a wonderful coast here, a lot of New Jersey, farmed and landed fish and seafood that you can find, especially during these months, but really all year round. October happens to be seafood month. So I often think, seafood is summer, but no, October is actually seafood month. So that's a wonderful time to make sure you can even get things and freeze them and have them for the winter. Seafood can be a little pricey. So, let's say like salmon cakes, you want to make salmon cakes, you can use canned salmon. You can buy it when it's on sale at the fishmonger and try to freeze it if you are going to use it later on. But you could do things like incorporating other plant-based, like portobello caps. They have sort of a meaty, steaky type of texture to them. Maybe making those salmon cakes instead of a burger for a healthier twist. You can use tuna, you can use turkey meat, whatever the case may be. Instead of like a heavy fat content type of burger, you can use other options to help get healthier options on your plate. Cooking with more fresh herbs, definitely, instead of just salt and pepper. That can be boring, and too much salt is not good for us. Using fresh herbs to add flavor, making your plate colorful. There's a lot of things out there that we don't really realize are even, just readily available to us that we can just brighten up a whole meal by adding them to that thing. I think also pasta gets a little bit of a bad rap, but if you make it with the right ingredients and you're balancing, again, everything in moderation, balancing it with the proper foods, and you're having a nice lean protein, maybe throwing some seafood or chicken, lots of veggies, using those fresh herbs and things to brighten up that flavor is a wonderful, wonderful option. Also, today's Tuesday, taco night, but you can even do things like fish taco night instead of just your normal typical options. You could do, just like tuna grilled, maybe baked and cut it up for your tacos. You could do shrimp tacos. You can do many other options that help just sort of add more pizzazz to the usual mundane type of meals. You can add a lot of different things to your meals to make them healthier and overall build your wellness with a more plant-based, lean protein type of diet. So I keep saying everything in moderation. Well, here it is, finding your balance. Living with less worry can help improve your health. So not only everything in moderation when it comes to food, but everything in moderation when it comes to your overall health. We don't want to surround ourselves with negative people, but sometimes we can't control it. We don't want to surround ourselves with stress. Sometimes we can't control it. Learning what the things you can control are and the things that you can't. If you cannot control it, you just need to learn to accept it and reframe your focus and move on. The only thing you are in control of is how you respond to that situation. Sometimes it's a situation, it's out of your hands, out of your control, but you're able to maybe offer a little, option to make it better, maybe reframe what's happening, move on from the situation, just sort of wash your hands from it, whatever it may be, do something that helps you accept and be happier because of it. Now, there are things in life we can't control. There are some terrible things that go on in this world that we can't control, and they might be very, very weighing on our shoulders, like very heavy. But try to understand that some things you can't control and some things you can. So do things that give you a little bit of energy, that help you stay motivated, help you keep that balance in your life. By having a healthy, balanced diet, keeping your brain healthy with all those wonderful omega-3s and nuts and fatty fishes are great for your brain, like cold water fishes like tuna and mackerel and things like that. Colorful fruits and vegetables, wonderful brain boosting foods. That will help you. Again, I mentioned it earlier, be able to handle all those stresses in your life when you are physically healthy as well. So the proper diet will help your mood and mind stay balanced. Finding ways to slow down your daily pace. We tend to be a very high, fast-paced sort of lives around here, but just taking time to just take a moment, whether it be meditation, whether it be maybe just relaxing with a book, trying things that help you create more positivity is really important to make sure that you're living a good, balanced life. Those who are aging purposefully are often the happiest and most balanced people among us. Stress management. We've talked about this a little bit, but signs of stress. Sometimes we don't really know what's causing our stress or why we're feeling a certain way. Maybe it's just eye strain. Your eyes are just bothering you and you can't, you just sort of kind of rub the temples and you're just trying to figure out, you feel tired, you feel sluggish, that achiness and irritability. All of these things can be signs of stress. They can be signs of many things, but sometimes having proper stress management is what's important here to help release and relax some of that stress out of our bodies. So the PMR, the progressive muscle relaxation, I'll even use this sometimes when I can't sleep at night. You basically are going to inhale and contract one muscle group for about 5 to 10 seconds. So I'll often start like at my feet and sort of, kind of clench them together for about 5 to 10 seconds. Then as you exhale, you release the muscle and it releases the tension. And you do this for every system. So you kind of walk yourself up from your feet to your legs, to your thighs, to your back, to your shoulders, to your arms, and even your hands. And you try to do that where you're giving yourself the time to release that stress as you move about your whole body. And by the time you're done, you will probably just feel more relaxed. Maybe you weren't able to handle the thing that caused the stress yet, but you'll feel more relaxed to better handle it as the day goes on. So you could do this throughout the day if something's really bothering you, or like I said, I do it at night. I don't even get halfway through up my body and then I'm already falling asleep. I mentioned ecotherapy earlier. Ecotherapy is one of my absolute favorites. I love being outside. Any day I can be outside, winter, spring, summer, or fall, I choose to be outside. It can reduce your stress and improve your mental wellness just by having that fresh air, getting outside 10 to 30 minutes a day, experiencing all the beauty that's around us. We have some wonderful parks here in the county. We have wonderful areas. I mean, we just walk around our parking lot out here and just enjoy the sounds of nature, seeing all the animals kind of scurrying about. Having that little bit of time, that me time, helps your body overall. It's amazing how much it can clear your mind, help you refocus. It even reduces your blood pressure and will definitely increase your mood. Unless, of course, you're going out and it's pouring rain and you hate the rain, then that probably isn't great. But I even love the rain. So, take an umbrella, and then that way you might get a little bit more sense of appreciation and gratitude for nature as well. But there's many different things you can do to just soak in a lot of our environment and having that ecotherapy. And it's important, again, for not only that physical aspect of getting out and walking, but even if you're sitting on a bench and just enjoying the sounds and surroundings that are all around you, that is important for your mental health as well. So I mentioned earlier, you are what you eat. This is, very true. However, there are ways that you can make healthier choices and your body will thank you for it. So for instance, fall is right around the corner and I often make a lot of chili come the fall. And I'll do things like, we've switched to turkey chili. And then if you take a can of pumpkin puree, 100% can of pumpkin puree, which is often easier to find in the fall, but it is available all year round. Typically, you do not taste it at all. And all it is doing is adding a multitude of nutrients and giving you extra health. And it even helps thicken up your chili a little bit. But by adding that can to your big pot of chili, you're adding a lot of benefits to yourself. Maybe even try adding beans to your salad. I've even done black bean brownies where you're using a can of black beans and pureeing them up instead of the egg and the oil, and just adding can of beans rinsed and then pureed with some water and it's still a brownie mix. So it's still brownies, and you will thank yourself later. You can't eat too many because it is a can of beans, but it's added fiber and some protein into your little dessert there. And most people do not even know the difference. If anything, it gives them a little fudgier texture. Maybe try roasting your vegetables. As I said, this time of year, we have so many vegetables available to us. I mean, we do in the grocery stores as well, but I'm just talking about, Jersey fresh vegetables growing right here in the state. That a wonderful way to get and taste many of our vegetables is just roasting them. You can grill them. We love grilling all of our vegetables and even some fruits as well. And that's a great way to incorporate them into your diet, just to have something different, something new. It might be something, maybe it's your new favorite way. And then even things like having fruit for dessert. Of course, there are fruit desserts like pies and such like that, but let's mimic an apple pie. If you slice up an apple, sprinkle it with cinnamon and put it in the microwave for maybe, 30 seconds or so, and you eat it, you might maybe trick your brain thinking it's similar to an apple pie. But having that little sweetness from the apple and warming it helps bring out some of those natural sugars, and sprinkling it with cinnamon, it sort of mimics that same concept of an apple pie without all the unhealthy things. So being mindful of that mental wellness, making sure you try to incorporate activities to improve your mood, having time for meditation and relaxation. Research has shown having a few minutes of calm, having that time to yourself can improve your health and ability to handle that stress. I cannot stress this enough. Maybe having a potluck party, encouraging your family and friends and even children to be creative with their cooking. Let everyone bring their favorite dish, getting together. Maybe you're going to do it as a picnic and getting outside and having a little ecotherapy, whatever the case may be. Just being surrounded and having that social aspect and encouraging others to sort of be together is very good for your health. Have you heard that laughter is medicine? Yes, it is. And the behaviors that we get when we laugh actually create hormones in our brain to help us stay happier. So if you are having a terrible day, terrible day, maybe go home, Put on something that makes you laugh, even if it's the silliest movie you've ever seen. Maybe it's a podcast you listen to. Maybe it's a book you've read. Whatever it may be, try to bring yourself that joy, knowing that it brings you happiness and you will laugh, being in the moment, taking that time for yourself. And then you'll help spread it for others as well. Maybe at that point, you're going to call your friend who you haven't talked to in forever and all reminisce about old memories, and having a good lighthearted laughter is a wonderful way to make sure you end your night on a positive note. We talk about physical activity. Generally, adults should have anywhere between 30 and 90 minutes of activity a day. As I told you, it's a cumulative effect. So little small bursts here and there can add up. And you can do things, with your family, with your friends. We have the walking clubs here, things like that. A lot of things you could just do on your own. And just making sure you're standing up about every hour, getting a little short walk in for those 3 to 5 minutes, standing and stretching, having that looseness. Especially, I hold a lot of my tension in my shoulders and my neck. So I'm always constantly stretching and trying to make sure that I don't get to the point where I'm hurting. I want to make sure that I'm alleviating it before it gets to that point. Trying to enjoy nature, doing different things maybe you've never done. Maybe you want to try yoga. Maybe you want to go, fishing, whatever the case may be, trying to enjoy things. Even a walk in the mall on a rainy day, that's fine. Getting your steps in is the best way to help your body just stay in check without maybe overdoing it in some ways. But if you are someone who's going to set your goals lofty and you want to make sure you're getting to the gym and you're already sort of a gym goer, then wonderful, do that. Whatever it is that makes you happy and gets you going. Scheduling the time for yourself. Oftentimes, we have a schedule. I keep on my phone the list of all the things that have to happen throughout the day. Putting in time for yourself is important. It helps you stay focused and it helps it become part of your routine. So our healthier habits we want to look for. Some things you can do is keeping your pantry stocked with healthy additions like brown rice, maybe quinoa, some canned tomatoes, low sodium broths. That way, as you're creating different meals, you can, kind of boost your creative chef, internal chef, and you'll have healthy options to sort of pull from the pantry that are staying in there. Other things, oftentimes we just overlook non-fat dried milk. You can add to pancakes, soups, casseroles, mashed potatoes. That just adds extra calcium. It will not change the flavor or the texture of those particular dishes. And it just adds calcium to your meal. Excuse me. Keeping fruits and vegetables portioned out and accessible for a quick snack. Maybe you went to the store over the weekend. You can wash your fruits and vegetables, sort of cut them up and put them in little baggies. That way, as you're getting ready to go to work every morning, grab a bag, have it at your desk, have it be your snack for the day. Eggs are not just a breakfast item. You can easily make a dinner casserole loaded with veggies and have that as a wonderful option. And if you're eating out, try to choose things like that are grilled, roasted, broiled. These are better options than, deep fried and sauteed type of foods. And if it comes with a sauce or a dressing, try to ask them for on the side, or maybe look for something that's more broth based, or like a tomato sauce is better than a white sauce because there'll be no cream in it. And you can always ask, most restaurants are willing to give you the options that might be a little bit healthier for you as well. Enjoying to remember the journey. We are here. Remember to enjoy the journey, but enjoy it as well. We are here to make sure that we're not doing things with such angst and, disdain for what we're working on. We want to make sure that we're enjoying it. This is our wellness path. We want to allow yourself grace. You want to do things that are keeping you mindful of the tasks at hand and keeping them in good intentions. Try living a healthy lifestyle as best you can. Everyone is different. Everyone will have different techniques and different ways of doing things. But if you are mindful of the things that are making you happy and are making you move along your wellness path, then that's what's important. It's good for your mind, your body, and your overall wellness. Making sure you're staying active. And it's so easy to get caught up in so much of life's chaotic things that go on. But we want to make sure you do take that time for yourself and slow down and breathe. Staying hydrated, making those healthy choices, and having an optimistic attitude can be really contagious to not only yourself, but those that surround